What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. It is time for some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today, we'll be taking a look at a mirror matchup. This is going to be a PvP RiSK versus Underdark. Starting things off here on Antigua Shipyard in the lower right-hand spawn location, our teal Protoss player going to be Underdark. And then in the upper left-hand position, our yellow Protoss player is RiSK. So yes, this is going to be a mirror matchup, a PvP to be more precise. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for some mirror matchups, as you don't see a lot. I've mentioned it before, but I'll just say it again. I don't get a lot of mirror matchups simply because there aren't a lot of them around in terms of replays available. I just don't happen to see a ton of mirror matchups. The other thing to add to that too is I do tend to get feedback that mirror matchups aren't as fun to watch. Simply because, you know, it's not as diverse. Both sides have the exact same capabilities, so a lot of people find that not that interesting. But I mean, I still want to be able to get some of these mirror matchups out to you guys, just so you can take a look at what professional players are doing in their games and get a better idea of what you should be doing in your games. That's basically how we structure things here on the channel. So there you go. Alright, so we're going to be seeing Underdark start off with that gateway and then move on out. Both players getting their timings pretty much exactly the same. You can take a look at that production tab, and they're pretty impeccably on par right now in terms of where their production is at. So neither player deviating too far from that standard build order. A couple of things you will see a lot in PvP. Well, first and foremost, obviously the 4-gate tends to be very strong. Now, besides going for a typical 4-gate opening, sometimes you will see stalker-heavy openings as well. That's actually a great way to get some early-game map control and deny the probe scout of your opponent. And being able to push out stalker-heavy early on can certainly put you in a strong position. But we'll have to keep a close eye as to what both players will be doing. It does appear like everything up until that Siren X core is pretty much going to be exactly on par. It'll be after that finishes where we will start to see some deviation, most likely, and unless they're both continuing to go for that same build. But that's the only point that we're expecting to see anything out of the ordinary. All right, so a little bit of harass coming on here from Underdark. It does look like at the moment, yes, RiSK. Oh my gosh, he still does not know where his opponent is. You can take a look right there, looking at his vision. He first checked upper right, now checking lower left, and still has not found the position of Underdark. Now, he's about finished his first Zealot, as is Underdark. Both players pretty much, again, in that same position. And here comes that Warp Gate research. Again, the same for both of these players. Chrono boosting out here for RiSK, though, and not chrono boosting for Underdark. Very interesting. We're going to be seeing a Stalker follow-up here. And what is Underdark going to be using his chrono boost on, as we're going to see that Warp Gate research finished for RiSK quite a bit earlier. It does appear like he's going to be chrono boosting that all the way through, and we still have a full Nexus worth of energy. And there it goes. We'll be coming out with that Stalker. So chrono boosting out those Stalkers, Underdark will actually be going for some early game map control with this here. You can see continued Stalkers queued up here, and he's going to consistently queue those up and chrono boost those out. Now, there is one Stalker out here for RiSK right now, but that is it, in conjunction with this Zealot and that one probe at the center of the map. Now, this early game Stalker-heavy composition that Underdark is going for will get him some map control. Again, more and more Stalkers coming out. He's got a second gateway coming through. On the flip side over here for RiSK, we can see it is a 4-gate that he's coming out with. Now, what he's sacrificing, though, and going for that, those additional gateways, puts him behind in terms of these early game units. So the Stalker-heavy force of Underdark should actually do really well. A little bit of a Zealot on Zealot action. Again, micro back, though. This Zealot gets taken out, and that is unfortunate there for RiSK. RiSK will actually be forced to cancel off this pylon, most likely. I'm not sure what's going on. There we go. Zealot's moving up to engage that pylon. Two Stalkers moving to try to take out this one. That Warp Gate research is now finished here for RiSK. So RiSK is going to be able to start warping in very, very shortly, canceling off that one pylon. This one's getting very close to finish, though. Warp Gates are now coming out. And let's see if he's going to be able to get some warp ins. There it is. Pylon is finished, and here it comes. These Stalkers getting warped in, and then all of a sudden Underdark is unable to deal with what he's up against. Will be chrono boosting out the rest of that Warp Gate research. Will he be able to get some sentries in time to build a force field RiSK out of his base? That is the question here. We'll have to see if he's going to get enough time. That one Zealot's getting taken out there by that Stalker micro, and here we go. Trying to come out with that sentry. He's going to be very, very close. Stalkers trying to... Oh, no! RiSK pulling back with the Stalkers, giving Underdark a little bit more time, and that allowed him to warp in those two sentries. And now all of a sudden Underdark, he's okay. He's not too worried at this point. He's not going to have to deal with those Stalkers being in his base. Now that he's got these two sentries in play, he's pretty much all set. You know, For a moment there, RiSK had a phenomenal opportunity to be able to sneak on right up into the base, but unable to do so now because of those sentries. He's actually trying to tease, moving it back and forth and trying to bait the force field of Underdark, but Underdark waiting until the last moment, realizing that those Stalkers aren't going all the way in, and he's just kind of chilling out back right now, saving up that energy. Got a robotics coming out here for Underdark. Now keep an eye on this. We've got 3 gateways right now for Underdark, and plus that robo's coming through. Back over here, 4 gateways and a robo and a Twilight Council. RiSK obviously really focused on this one base play. He is not planning on transitioning anytime soon. And once that Twilight Council does finish, I'm assuming that we will be seeing Blink Stalkers. I'm expecting him to go Blink Stalker and then use this Observer to be able to gain some vision of the high ground. Again, that is what I'm assuming is going to happen. Now, Underdark, in not having those additional production buildings, this means that resource-wise, he is ahead in terms of floating resources and what he can actually afford to spend on. Is it going to be an expansion? I was assuming it's either going to be one of two things. He's either going to be using those resources to pump out more units early on, or he'll be trying to expand. It does appear like he's considering an expansion, at least saving, putting that probe down there just in case he decides. And there it is, Underdark deciding to expand. This could be a huge mistake, as we're seeing RiSK stay on one base with these 4 gateways, pumping out some Immortals as well, and getting that Blink research. So RiSK staying on one base play, will be amassing as strong of a force as he can muster, and then we'll be pushing out with that. Now Underdark is moving out with an Observer of his own. We already have one Observer in play here for RiSK, and where is it? There it is, Observers with the main army. So he's got an Observer with the main army right now, possibly worried about some DT from his opponent. As we can see, that is not happening, as we are actually seeing Underdark try to go for that expansion. Now we're going to have a little bit of vision of the high ground there from Underdark's Observer, allowing him to take out that pylon, but now he's going to get sandwiched here, and he's going to be up against some Stalkers and some Zealots. Unfortunately, a little mismatched here at the moment. They got the Immortal, that's all the way back there, though. Stalkers able to sneak their way back on home. He's already lost 1. Getting close to losing this next one, but it looks like he will be able to just barely make it back home. I'm a little concerned, though. It's going to be a very, very strong push coming out here from RiSK, and I'm not sure if Underdark is going to have enough to take it. We'll have to see. Now, something to keep in mind is that if he can defend against this push here from RiSK, then he has got the game in the bag, because he will have this huge economic advantage. Moving forward to engage. Nice Guardian Shield. Some nice force fields there as well, catching a few of RiSK's units out of position. That was a few free kills there, utilizing that Sentry force field. Very nice play there by Underdark, forcing the cancellation of that pylon. All of a sudden, RiSK is going to be forced to push back right now. He's getting an Immortal coming in to join the fray, but there are 2 Immortals on the opposing side as well. Some more Stalkers moving down. All of a sudden, Underdark is looking to be in a very, very strong position. Looks like RiSK is trying to make a stand right here as he drops his pylon and turns around to engage. Some more nice force fields, trying to keep some of those units out of range. Some Blink Micro helping out RiSK quite a bit, but those Immortals of Underdark tearing through, and there it is, RiSK calling the GG. With more production buildings and greater tech, RiSK was in a phenomenal position to actually do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, getting caught out of position, he ended up losing a small portion of his army, losing a few Stalkers here, and as a result, that actually sent him behind tremendously. And we saw the continued push from Dark, and unfortunately, RiSK was not able to combat this counter push from Underdark. That, in conjunction with the fact that Underdark also had his expansion up and was about to get that saturated, put him in such a lead that RiSK just decided to call the GG. Alright guys, that is it. That is the game number 1 here between RiSK and Underdark. We'll be moving on to game 2 in just a moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.